if you look to a traditional method of using concentration to see things clearly, very strong concentration. What I'm talking is not from that perspective. It's about how to build concentration, not so much, following the one-pointedness, but by understanding how the mind works. That is to say, to understand the habits of our mind. If we understand that, concentration comes in naturally. It may not be the kind of concentration that we call one-pointedness. Nevertheless, it's a workable, functioning concentration. And the kind of habit that I have in mind here is which I refer to almost in every talk that I give: fight and flight. When your mind wanders, you might fight with wandering mind. If you have some pins and needles in your body, you might be fighting with this. We consider this to be a habit, and you have to change this habit. When you're fighting with that, you're actually using the energy unnecessarily, fighting it. So we are talking about understanding this behavior is just a habit, and it's possible to change this habit. So every time when your mind starts fighting with pain or starts fighting with restlessness, so okay, this is a habit. This is a fighting habit. Instead of this, I need to accept it. How do we accept? This is restless mind. This is restless mind. We look into the pain of being restless. We try to accept it. When we accept it, when we no longer fight with this restlessness, the mind doesn't wander that often. Why the mind wanders very often? Because sometimes flight, we try to suppress, we try to ignore the uncomfortable thoughts, automatic thoughts that come through our mind. We try to ignore them, we try to run away from them. So we either veer into fight or flight. So by watching those habits in action, by trying to accept them, learn from them, accept them, we actually change our brain. Okay, the neurologists who have done a lot of research on meditation, they say if you meditate 30 minutes a day for 2 months, you change your brain. From old brain, being active, you move it to the new brain. This old brain, the amygdala, the new brain, the hippocampus. And when your brain is active in the hippocampus area, concentration is easy. Not only that it's easy, you feel more connected with people around. When we don't feel connected, that's when we have a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, and those tension, those pressures, those stresses, they show that our mind is restless. You see, so when we talk about concentration, we're not just about talking concentration as a thing that we can buy, that we can go and grab. Instead, we talk about Why concentration is not there? Why is there? Try to understand positively. If we look at that way, we wouldn't be fighting with restless mind. So the first thing my advice is that before you start sitting, tell yourself that the mind will wander, and it's okay. Wandering mind is negative, but knowing that is positive. You see, you can turn something negative into positive. Anger is negative, but knowing anger is positive. When we say Buddha, means somebody who knows, somebody who uses knowing as a solution for everything. Without knowing why the mind wanders, why the mind is restless, if we try to stop this, we wouldn't be able to do this, because we are not using knowing, we are not using understanding. If you see the A4 part, you see concentration doesn't stand alone, and understanding doesn't stand alone. They have to work together. If we try to accumulate those qualities one by one. Okay, first I'm going to ignore understanding, that will come later. At the moment I'm going to try to get concentration. I think that kind of approach it may take long. Now today we have scientific evidence that, okay, 30 minutes a day and only 2 months, that's 30 hours. You can literally change your brain. People who meditate, they take you into the lab and using fMRI, they take a lot of brain images, they compare how your alpha is working. People who don't meditate, the novices and people who have done meditation for some time and long-term meditators, they compare those the diagram of your alpha, the brain waves. So I think it's good that this day that things are made very easy for us. We can look at meditation from psychological viewpoint, from neurological angle, and also from traditional meditation research. Because your question is how to get the mind calm down and then concentrated. This question, if you take it lightly, you're going to be emphasizing a technique. Here I'm not emphasizing a technique, I'm emphasizing meditative qualities. There are two things when we meditate. One is meditation technique, the other is meditative qualities. Meditation technique, they are different. Some people, they breathe focusing on the nostrils. Some people, they count breathing. Some people, they breathe very harsh, very quick. Some people, they observe the tummy. Some people, they will be soothing the sensation of the body. These are different techniques. It doesn't matter if you play tennis, if you play football, if you do jogging, if you do swimming, you're going to get the same strong muscles. Those are different methods. The quality that you have is that you have strong heart, you have strong lung, and strong muscle. You're able to breathe better. The Tibetan people, because they have to walk up and down through high mountains, very high altitude. Their lungs are bigger than other people. Bigger than other people. It's just a training. It's just a habit. Just a habit. So instead of chasing concentration, I like to suggest that you try to feel comfortable with restless mind. If you try to understand this from the middle path, the viewpoint, the point of view of middle path, that is how to be with restless mind without being dragged into either of the two extremes. You get to work on this. You get to work on the two extreme and the middle path. The middle path. Some people, they are very concentrated, but emotionally they are very volatile, very vulnerable. If they hear something that they don't like, they are not familiar with, they feel tense. They get angry easily, like that. So one of the meditation teacher and a clinical scientist, who is also a clinical scientist, say some people, they are spiritually very advanced, but emotionally very immature, meaning low EQ. Low EQ.
The purpose of meditation concentration is to make a person less volatile, more emotionally stable. So why is it?
Because you emphasize only concentration. If you emphasize only concentration, that goes to the pre-Buddhist meditation. Buddhist meditation emphasizes way of life. How concentration or lack of it is related to the way I live. The kind of ethics that I apply to my communication when I talk to other people, and how is my worldview, how I look at the world, how I look at life. These are all they matter, and they matter together. When you say a four parts, one wheel, it has 8 spokes. Those 8 spokes, they only make one wheel. They only form one wheel. That is to say, concentration is only one of the 8. It's as important as the other 7 factors. So when we just chase after concentration and nothing else, what I'm saying, my point here is that achieving concentration is hard work, and maintaining it is even harder.
But I know why I'm restless, because meditation is very boring.
You see, I like to interrupt you here.
Nothing happens, just breathe. And you said be comfortable with restlessness, right? This is the whole 1.5 hours I'm just sitting there and thinking.
Actually, boredom, when you talk about feeling boredom is one of the major emotional experiences that we feel as a human being. Because we don't know how to handle this, we don't know how to solve this. What you have, the car that you have, the house that you have has less value. You don't, value them as much because you feel bored. Why you feel bored? Because there is nothing new. You want some excitement. You see, and even exciting is very expensive. I can tell you. Very expensive because it has to be something new. So if you work on boredom, when boredom arises, This is a very good meditation object. If you try to run away from boredom and try to get try to go out to something exciting, you are in the flight mode. Next time, when you say, okay, I'm going to look at boredom, what boredom is like. I want to understand how it can dominate my mind, how it can change my mind. You see, we monks, we wear the same uniform because we don't get bored with this. So this is very valuable in terms of monetary value. Okay, this is not very expensive, but in terms of emotional satisfaction, this is, you see, very high in value because we feel so good with this. The top, the color that you wear, the next day you don't wear this anymore. You want to change the color. See, your ability to enjoy your clothes is only 24 hours. Because of that, you have to work harder to earn more, to buy more clothes. We don't have that trouble. We don't have that trouble.
So, there's one question. So, what is the level of concentration required to do vipassana? Like, at what state we can really go into vipassana?
Well, my take is that, okay, of course I understand vipassana just like other teaching, that is to look at our experience in terms of the three characteristics, okay, change and unsatisfactoriness or dukkha, and then the last one is some people say lack of control, but I prefer translating this anatta as a universal experience. These three, it depends on which point you make an entry. If you're going to look at change or impermanence, you need a lot strong concentration. But if you're going to start with the second one, you don't need that strong concentration, because boredom is already dissatisfaction. You can see that. By looking at that, you are stepping into vipassana territory already. When you look at what happened when you feel bored? You want to move, you want to give up this one, you want something exciting. The mind is operating, repeating this behavior again and again. Not just here, but everywhere. Maybe when you are eating, maybe when you are working, anything. It's just this behavior, very simple, very predictable behavior. And if you look at this as what we say, dukkha, something that is difficult to take. Dukkha means difficult to take. If you look at this and stay with that for a while, for 1 or 2 minutes or 4 or 5 minutes, come back to breathing. Now you are experiencing boredom mindfully. Instead of experiencing boredom mindfully, people actually want to run away from it. They use their energy in flight rather than in trying to understand boredom. And if there is a research project in Germany at Leipzig University on meditation. They divide people into different groups. One group, they meditate 30 minutes every day, and after that, two people would be calling each other for 10 minutes, talking about their meditation experience. And the other, the second group, they wouldn't talk to each other. And one other group wouldn't meditate. They compare the brain of those people. And the people who talk to each other, they come to see that my restlessness is not unique to me. He also experiences it, she also experiences it. So you have a sense of your experience being universal. Over time, okay, drop by drop, each day it happens like this. For 2 months, now you come to accept things as they are. You can map steps of enlightenment through science.
Because I've been meditating for so long, nothing happened. So long, I've come here so long already, and in the morning, every morning meditate more than 30 minutes for 2 months already. I thought at least must see some light or enter some jhana. You know, how come still sit there and still nothing happen? And you say talk to each other, but my friend all reached don't know how many.
You see,
they can say a lot of things.
You do meditation because you want to get something. Meditation is not to get something. It's to lose everything, including our expectation. So when we sit, earlier I was referring to the fact that before you sit, tell yourself that your mind is going to be restless. This is to lose expectation of concentration. But on the other hand, it's to expect what the Buddha said, suffering. Because restlessness brings suffering. You don't feel happy when restlessness is there. When you expect suffering, and when it comes, you don't panic anymore. Meaning you don't top up, you don't multiply that suffering anything. Suffering is here. There is a little book published by Harvard Business Review, Mindfulness. It's called Mindfulness. They just summarized research findings. One of them says that 45% of our time, 45% of the time at work, we think of other things other than what we are doing. This is to say we all operate on autopilot. If we examine, this is because we expect things unrealistically, and we don't expect the difficulty, disappointment. We don't expect that. Because we go to work wishing that today is a good day, no headache, no obstacle. But if you leave home, you tell yourself today there might be some unexpected problem at work. You tell yourself like this, it doesn't take 1 minute, but you are better prepared when things don't go your way, and you wouldn't panic. When you don't panic, unnecessary reaction don't come. We get carried away by those habitual reaction very often. So Buddhist meditation is based on understanding. You see, the Eightfold Path, understanding comes first, concentration last. I'm talking from the text. Right concentration, number 8. Right understanding is number 1.
Right understanding is from reading, right?
Not just reading, looking here, looking what's happening in your heart, what's happening in your mind. Reading is an information. Okay, you apply the information here.
I think Pandit Gunaratna also explained about this is one of the important things that when we meditate, not to expand.
In the Evergreen Buddhist bookshop, I saw one book yesterday we didn't buy. A lifelong beginner. A person, he sees himself as a beginner every day. That's to say, he doesn't bring the burden of yesterday with him. That's how we deal with the past. When you see yourself as a beginner, okay, you don't take anything for granted. You're more alert. Ajahn Chah, the Thai Prasmatic teacher, sometimes would say he sees himself as a beginner every day. There's no burden or expectation. Just be at the present moment.
Then how do we know whether we are progressing correctly? Because nothing happened.
Oh, I don't know. Myself, I wouldn't say where my concentration level is this height. I wouldn't judge my meditation that way. The way I do is how many times I lose my temper this week. How many times do I get irritated, especially under pressure? If I don't lose my temper very often, I would say my meditation is doing well.
So nothing to do with concentration, because I find that I cannot concentrate, right? But
no, you see, you're judging yourself. I can concentrate, I cannot concentrate. These are all judgments. We shouldn't be very judgmental. Also, the Satipatthana, the discourse on mind, where the Buddha simply says, when the mind is concentrated, just know it as concentrated mind. Don't create an identity out of that. When the mind is not concentrated, just know it. The mind is not concentrated. Accept it, let it go. You see? If you label yourself as anything at all, you will be doing negative reinforcement.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused because the mind is not concentrated, right? But I do find myself becoming more calm and not easily angry anymore.
You see, your meditation is doing very well. You just don't see it because you're focusing on what you don't have. You don't focus on what you have.
Then just now you said some people may be very concentrated or emotionally volatile. So I find it very strange because I thought concentration, how well you do
it's not strange. It's not strange. These are different functions of mind. Being concentrated is one function.
The purpose of concentration is to gain enlightenment, and if the person is enlightened, the person will not be angry, right?
Emotionally balanced is also to get enlightenment. Yes, why not? Not telling a lie is also for enlightenment.
If the person is very concentrated, I thought the person would be...
You take meditation, you look at meditation through a few boxes. What the Buddha is saying, you examine the function of the Eightfold Path. One of them is right speech. not to tell lies, not to gossip. Not to gossip someone who doesn't gossip. This person is closer to enlightenment. Someone who meditates but then gossip about someone else who doesn't meditate like him. This person, okay, one step ahead, one step back. Meaning, listen please.
Very strange, because if a person can meditate very well, focus very well, then the person should become a very good person. I thought that's the purpose of meditation.
That's because you define meditation in a very narrow sense. Next time I talk more. Today. Thank you. Okay, see you next time.